Scooty doesn't hit.
All right, listen, y'all go ahead and please hit that like button so we can get some more people in here. Have a great show for you tonight. I'm waiting on the mayor to get in. I know tonight they had the meeting over at the high school with the residents from Black River Mobile Home Park. So, as expected, actually, I was late starting the night because it's just a long day. They need to put more hours in the day. That's what needs to happen. But while we wait on the mayor, let's talk about a few things. And one is going over to AHS football page on Facebook and signing up to be a sponsor for one of these team meals. Go ahead and do that. If you're part of a church organization, if you're part of a social group, whatever you are, please reach out to Coach Durham over at AHS, Andrews High School. And I'm sure you can call over to the school and ask, just let them know you're interested in volunteering for the pregame meals. And I'm sure they'll direct you in the proper place to wherever you can get what you need to get. Okay. What else is going on in the community? As a matter of fact, this would be a good time for us to go over to the Andrews website. I don't know if you guys downloaded the app or not, but yeah, the town of Andrews has a website and it has a mobile app that you can go to your Google or Apple Play Store and download. Let's pull up the town's website here, where you can go and get some up to the minute information as to what's going on in the town of Andrews. And that website is, let's remove this right here, man. Again, hey, welcome over here. I see some people over here already looking. By the fact that you hadn't hit the like button yet, that means you over here for you're trying to come over here and hear what we're going to talk about. Come on, because we're going to talk about it. But the rule is we're going to hit the like button. I'm not like these crooked pastors. I'm not charging, collecting all this different money. Okay. The likes are free. See, somebody just participated in one of those free likes. But stay on over here. And we're going to give you exactly what you want tonight, guys. This is going to be a good conversation. This is going to be a conversation that is long overdue. I've been wanting to have it for a long time. But things move the way they move, and now we are here. And so we will have that conversation with Mayor Frank McClary. As you know, there was just an article. Let me find that news article that they where the young lady came down and was covering the disgruntled citizens in Andrews. And they were upset about the water bill, the water rates. The water had increased to an enormous amount. And Frank McClary is the devil. And what's that Price man? He said that those people over there are destroying this town. And I mean, they talk about the podcast going to a national audience, Channel 2 News going to a global audience. And this is, he puts it out that they love this town. But the one thing you notice about these cowards, they don't ever show their face. They don't ever put their face behind what they're saying. They don't do it. They just don't do it. They don't do it. They'll throw rocks and try to hide their hands. Well, I'm not throwing a rock back. I'm about to throw me be careful what I say because I know the lawyers are watching. And shout out to you, lawyers. You know what we on. We got the old classic McDonald cup here, and sipping on some of the finest. But let me slow down on that. But yeah, got a lot of stuff to talk about. One of the things that came up amongst a lot of things. So what we're going to talk about tonight, right, is what the lady from the newspaper didn't talk about. Okay, and we're going to talk about why she didn't talk about it. Okay, I alluded to some of it last night in regards to, okay, trying to do too much. I need a supercomputer is what I need. I you know, my thought patterns, it'd be like 10 thoughts coming in at one time, and this computer can't handle it. But my slow brain can handle this right here. So one of the complaints was the water rates. And again, I'll have somebody on in a little bit who's a little more qualified to talk about this right here. But just do some simple math, if you know what I'm saying. Just do some simple mathematics. You would think that the rates were raising $5-10, okay? And this is on my page. You can go over there and pull it off and print it out and take a close look at it. But we're going to talk about this too tonight and why the rates were raised according to the mayor's fan club by and you can tell that's all who over here. But I'm gonna hold off on some of this. Just hit the like button, okay? Just hit the like button. We'll get to all of it soon enough. They were so glad I stopped talking about that $20,000, but you know, you have to listen to the smart people. And this again, I'm interested in what came out of that meeting. Didn't cover it. Don't think that I should have covered it. Again, this is more of this is like an HOA type deal. Like I said, this community has an opportunity to really show what unity can do when each one is holding the other accountable for, being a part of this thing that they're getting ready to embark onto, however that goes. But yeah, all that'll be coming up here in a little bit. Again, a lot to talk about. A lot was said. A lot has been said. A lot of accusations have been alleged. But the young lady from the news station, she's young in her broadcast career, and you can tell. And if she don't don't know, I don't know how the whole editor process work. I was talking to somebody who is more had some experience in that field, and they was telling me about how that stuff has to go to a editor, and by the time you get it, sometimes it doesn't even look like what you sent them. And I don't know in this case, because I think this young lady was her own editor as far as chopping up the video. I know she shot it. I'm not going to say she edited. She shot it. So who knows what ended up on the cutting room floor. But we're going to talk about that tonight, what ended up on the cutting room floor actually and factually. So, but and I also said what we're going to do is get over here and we'll check out the town's website. So if you haven't already, go download that. Because a lot was said about transparency, and I don't know how much more transparency is needed. Do you need to okay, I'm not going to say those type of things tonight, but how much more transparency is needed is the question. Is the big question. Let's remove you and let's bring you up on screen here. Share screen. And there we go. So, and there it is, the town's website. I'm going to step off screen for a second and reach out to the mayor and make sure everything is good to go. I'm sure it is, but let me get an update and see where we are with this. In the meantime, again, go download these 2024 Consumer Confidence Report, Part 2 of Chart 2. Monday, June 9th. This is old stuff, some old stuff. But there's something from a few hours ago, 8 hours ago. Let's see, town hall meeting. What's this? Okay, Black River Home Community or whatever. And if you've been there, you went to that meeting and kind of chime in and let us know what is going on. There she is, Miss Gibson. Miss Gibson, I'm gonna have to make you a moderator or something. Miss Glisson, I say Gibson. But anyway, let me figure out what is going on here. In the meantime, let's see what we got here. Fireworks ordinance and all this other good stuff.
The difference between an average morning and a Hardee's morning is hearty goodness that lasts till lunchtime.
Like, imagine that you're up to date on all of your water bills, and then all of a sudden you receive a letter in the mail saying that your landlord has actually never paid the town and your water is being shut off.
Well, that is exactly what is happening to a mobile home community in the town of Andrews. The town says the owner of this park owes more than $150,000. Anna Harris tells us what they need to do next.
The town of Andrews says they're missing over $150,000 worth of water bill payments, stretching over nearly 2 years from the owner of Black River Mobile Home Community, Tim Woodbridge.
But this fella ain't taking care of nothing.
And now around 50 of these homes have had their water shut off, despite neighbors saying they've been paying Woodbridge this whole time.
I can't get my young in a bath at my own house. I can't cook supper. I can't do laundry.
Town Administrator Mauretta Wilson says they have reached out to Woodbridge for months and even had a meeting with him in April to discuss the payments and environmental hazards they say he's causing to the area, such as sewage in ponds and sewage in the road. She says nothing has been done since then. She says the Office of Regulatory Services is also investigating him for his rates, as they believe he could have been charging them 4 or 5 times the actual amount.
I have messaged him on Facebook, and the only response I can get is that he's hired an attorney. He cannot speak to us.
And I got the same response, and his attorneys have yet to respond to my voicemail. The town is now encouraging folks to file a breach of trust claim to the Williamsburg County Sheriff's Office, which attorney Stephen Futerall says could lead to harsh penalties.
Once you get past $10,000, it is still a felony. It is up to 10 years in jail and fines up in the discretion of the court.
He says those impacted should also file a claim under the Residential Landlord Tenant Act because they haven't been provided an essential service and they would no longer have to pay that bill.
The math may add up to the point where they're not paying any rent for a period of time to play catch up on all the bills that haven't been paid.
Woodbridge also claims on his social media pages that he's a, quote, mobile home park investor. And since asking about these claims, he has since blocked me from seeing his accounts.
Hope the public takes notice to this and his name, that they won't get involved with him to get tied up in this kind of stuff. From a lot of people's lives if he keeps buying properties like this.
In Andrews, Anna Harris, Live 5 News.
time, DH says 60% increase on your rates. So imagine that 60% increase on your rates in order for your revenue to match the cost of doing business. Long story short, we were able to negotiate that over time and said, look, we can't do that, 60% one-time increase on rates. So allow us to now spread this over the next 10 years. And after a lot of discussions and that kind of business back and forth with DA at the time, we were allowed to then begin to incrementally increase the rates. And that's why we can keep it down between 3.5% to 5% where we are this year. We'll talk a little bit more about that.
Hey, Lori, I'm gonna need you to prove that. Show me some proof that the water rates in Georgetown County are cheap. I'm not saying that it's not. I'm just saying that I want you to prove that.
System, that kind of business. So when we had this issue out here in the park, all of these folks came out. You just now got an assessment. It wasn't just an assessment from the town of Andrews. We had the experts on the ground. They've been a part of this thing throughout. And so you can read this, and again, our system was not being, in parts and pieces wasn't being maintained. And obviously, if you got waste coming out through lift stations, wherever it is, a water line's busted and water coming out, and then you have a problem. These folks are going to come in. And so you guys experienced that. So the steps that we took at that point in time, we hosted, again, a town hall here in October 10th of 2024 to discuss what was happening. Because now this thing is getting serious because we didn't see a whole lot of change. John Evans wasn't getting that account was not being paid. So we met. And again, on April 11, 2025, we had the state, county, the property owner, and all those folks, all of us met at town hall. Most of the talking was done by the folks from Columbia. And they were laying out the requirement. Again, I was there, the owner of the park was there, and all of these other folks. So we all knew what was on the table. We had a discussion about the bill. So we're talking two different things you gotta understand. You're talking about the system itself. He had words about that. I don't control that on the inside. Me and the council don't control that. That's one issue. The bill and the water laws is what gets our attention. Okay? And so we had that conversation. Still no response from DHEC, whatever they do, and again with the owner, that's their business. But all through these contact points and correspondence going out, we got no response. And you got to understand, it's like everybody that's an accountable, all 1,600 of you, to include myself, if I don't pay, my water gets interrupted. They know by order, they don't give me any early warning. If I don't pay on time, there's a 10% increase. If I don't pay by that next deadline, then that water is interrupted.
again, explain to me how it is the county's problem, not just to me, but everybody, how it's elaborate a little bit more, Ms. Glisson. Why do you think it's the county's problem that with the situation over in Black River Mobile Home Park? All right, guys, listen. A lot. That is obvious that the park is not inside of the city. The city sells the park the water. I agree with what you're saying. What I need you to do is to kind of break down why do you think that is. Okay, we've established that they sit outside of the city of Andrews. Okay, Andrews also sells water to a number of other clients that sit outside of the city. Excuse me. So why is it Williamsburg County's problem? And this is a private matter. But listen, let's get to what we need to get to here tonight. Mayor, welcome, sir. How are you?
Exhausted, my friend.
Well, I mean, you know, that's what is that. I guess that comes with the territory of you know, leadership. I mean, that's just part of that comes with it. I know you got some situations going on in your family, so I'm not going to hold you on long tonight. You know, a lot's been brewing around. First of all, like, can you give us well, I got something here. Let me pull this up here. I know you met with the citizens here just recently over from over in from Deerwood. Black River, yeah. And so can you give us an update on that temporary resolution and, you know, kind of what took place tonight?
Yeah, as you know, we restored service back to that community last, I think, on Friday. Yes, on Friday. And so, but a part of that process, excuse me, was that we all, you know, we had to come to an understanding and an agreement that how this would work. So first we get the service back again to make sure that we, you know, take care of the people, and then hear this, and then flush out the special circumstances or details of it. And part of that process was getting the approval through the council to do this. And now tonight, what we're discussing is how we're going to do it. How, you know, what are the terms of condition, excuse me, for this agreement between the park and Andrews. You know, so there's no third party involved in this piece, and this is an emergency temporary solution to get them water and sewer. And so we didn't want to wait. A lot of the citizens who we talked to Friday, when we went through this process, we spoke to some of the leaders in there, and they, you know, had a great dialogue, had a great conversation about how this thing should work. And so tonight we wanted the entire community to come. So the intent was to get this thing signed, but again, we would have had more work to do on the back end because there would have been more questions. So the night was to bring them out and share this information, get some feedback. But it became more than that, because we still have some concerns, because as we told them, we can get this service going for you, but if the old account is brought up, you know, to good standing, then we would have to, you know, turn that back over to the owner, because that's who we have the agreement with. And so, of course, that created a lot of concerns about, hey, you know, suppose he does it again. And of course, I can't answer that. I advise them that they need to seek. It's a lot of things that has happened that's beyond our control in Andrews. And so they need to seek legal counseling, and they need to talk to the Department of Environmental Services and all those people who can help them understand what their individual concerns are. It's beyond getting water, because that's what we'll do for them. So it was very, it was enlightening, heartbreaking in many cases, because you hear some of the stories about, some of the special needs, and that, that really cannot be without their water and sewer for any extended period of time. And so, so that was the purpose. And so now the next step is to go ahead and begin to formalize this agreement, so we could begin again to provide service, and then collect the fees for it.
Has the collective group seeked legal counsel? I mean, as far as you know?
Not to my knowledge. It's based on the question tonight, and they were still looking for a lot of the answers from the town, which we, that's specifically, concerning fees they're paying, the conditions of the water and sewer systems over there, and then, like as I said previously, what's going to happen next if we, if they have to go back under this guy's control. And so, yeah. So it's a lot of unsolved issues. And so in the meantime, living like this on a system, on a temporary basis, and then it can go back to the old, that is a problem for these folks. And they expressed that tonight. And then when, his attorney was there, and when they, was made aware the attorney was there, and they had questions for him, that was interesting. But his words were he was there to
observe,
and you heard it, live, to learn what's going on, and hopefully, work with us to get, find a solution. And so I made it clear that, right now the only solution is you got to pay this debt, then we can talk about anything else. So that's where we
did was the town served? Were you served with that lawsuit? Was the town?
I think it was either today or yesterday. I think it was today. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So,
as I told them, that's the only communication, because one of the questions was, have Mr. Woodbridge reached out to the town? I said, no, absolutely not. And then one young lady spoke up, and she said she just got a text message from him, I think the day that we turned it on, said that he was responsible for turning it on. I mean, it's unbelievable.
He is probably the worst criminal there is when it comes to text messaging.
I mean, and that bothered me, because again, we are taking some risk in doing this, because it's just risk associated with everything. But then to come back and text, and so I mean, this is from the young lady. They all heard it. She said she received the text, and I think others did too, that this man said that he was responsible for turning the water back on. Then that would mean that you honored your debt. That has not happened. It hasn't happened.
Wow. And so, I mean, they need to ramp this thing up legally. Because this guy's operating with a sense of arrogance that is just beyond, and he shouldn't be, because he's careless. So let me ask you this: if the meters back in Black River Mobile Home Park are not working, okay, and how would he be able to read the meter to get those people's bill?
I have no idea, because the only other meter, which is the master meter that we own, that is obviously he can't read from that, because no one is allowed other than town employees to enter into that box. That would be tampering. And so
that lady in the news suggested yesterday that you were encouraging the citizens to tamper with the boxes.
Yeah, I have a lot of issues with that.
That article,
that reporting. I haven't reached back out to her, but there were several misquotes. For me to say that, and then after I saw what meters that she was showing, I said, okay, she has missed the entire boat, because those were power meters, those are electrical meters. Has nothing to do with water and sewer. We don't sell power. So the only utilities we provide to our citizens and others is water and sewer. That's it. So that entire report or should be tossed out because it's inaccurate.
Okay, give me a second. Let me pull that up. I got to find that. I'm having some computer issues here, but I'll tell you what. Let's just roll along, and then everything should probably everything will magically go into place. But what was that about? I mean, the town, the water rates. They were talking about the increase in water rates.
Yeah, that is, again, and you pay attention to any entity, Duke Energy, any other municipality, that's keeping up with the cost of doing business. So ours is extremely low at 5%. And I showed the people tonight, as we've done on many cases, where you're talking probably about a couple of dollars more. And again, I'm not, I know it probably any amount of money for some people may be, having a significant impact. So I'm not suggesting that it doesn't, but you have to do that. We are required to maintain the system. That's like anybody else. And so in order to do that, it's the money that comes in.
Is that required? You say you have to do that? Are you required by the state to raise the prices?
Well, that's in addition, yeah. So yes, the state is also, again, DES placed a consent order in the town years ago, and so we're still under that consent order to raise rates enough where this system, this enterprise, can maintain itself. This is an enterprise, but these funds can't be used for anything else.
Let me break that down a little bit, Mayor.
Yeah,
you saying that the state saying that y'all gotta raise rates to be able to afford to take care of the system that y'all running.
Yes, that's
okay.
Everybody has that requirement.
Okay,
everybody. Now, even if that was not the case, you still have the cost of doing business that's going to drive some level of increase. I mean, you look at county or any county, any other municipality, it's the same thing. But but the way this story was written, and some of the folks that are talking about it, like this is on top. No, that is because our system for many, many years, long before I got here, was not generating enough money to take care of this old system. We were off about almost $300,000 short in terms of what you generate, and then a lot of things played into that. You had bad, water loss, unaccounted for water. You're not raising your rates. So what happened is that the cost of doing business was about $300,000 short. So then that money had to come from the general funds, which impacts all your other services. So you can imagine you have $300,000 over here in general funds, and now you can kind of sort of compete with these other law enforcement agencies to pay your law enforcement officers monies that's competitive. So that money comes out of that pot. Because again, you have no choice. If you're going to be an owner permitted through DES, like we are, you have to do that. And a part of that is keeping up with the cost of doing business. Now you magnify this by these tariffs and those parts that's coming from overseas. These people are taxing more, putting more tax on these. More costs on these items. So all of that plays into it. So if you don't, and you be the nice guy, not necessarily nice guy, but you be that leader who just can't make these hard decisions, then your system's going to fail, and then you're going to lose your system eventually to some other agency. That's the second and third order effects.
So there's a group led by some pastors in the town that were suggesting that they were going to take a case against you to the attorney's general office. I don't know if the lady asked you about these type of things, the reporter.
Well, yeah, I learned about it before the reporter came. So, and I don't know, but here's what I say. I enjoy coffee. So whenever the attorney general or whomever else coming down want to look at anything, just let me know so I can have a cup of coffee waiting for them, because I'm not afraid of anything. And it comes down to these finances. And now it's unfortunate if this is the case. If you have these type leaders behind this effort, it's a shame.
Oh, this is going on now. There's a
whole lot of other things that they can be doing.
Yes, but what they're doing is,
if that's the case, I don't know.
I'm speaking for me again. So y'all direct the lawsuits over here, like they was giving you credit for that. The slum. I came up with the Trailer Park Slum King.
Hey,
that was
none
me.
of that bothers them. We'll see them where we need to meet them. So, but the truth is the truth. And I know by name who it is. They don't understand they have an inside leak, and so I walk them down. In fact, when I laid this stuff out to this young lady,
Mayor,
yeah.
I understand you high level military, but don't be giving up my sources, man. You're gonna have them people looking at everybody. I can see them jokers walking around like Nino Brown, walking around.
You say with the dog?
20 years I built this and I got nothing.
Yeah, so it's yeah, so I have the list, but that's okay. That's their prerogative. And if that's all they have to do, then go for it. But as this young lady, said yesterday, because I laid it out again, I knew about this strategic move that's going on with this group of people. And they probably should have met someplace else yesterday and not where you're going to really connect this group of people to.
Why don't they go like the Attorney General's office? And for those, that's a public, you could go up there, like that's, you know what I mean? Call, make an appointment. That's not a hard thing to do. But when you send a first year reporter who, I'm assuming she's a nice person, but she was a horrible reporter. The B-roll footage, all that's a whole nother conversation. But you got these people, these leaders in your town that are doing this type of thing, passing these conversation over. And for those who are following them up, ask yourself, what are they doing? So if you could just snap your fingers and make them the leaders today, would they be ready to take over and be in a position to lead? Or are they just standing behind the wall, throwing the rocks, never, ever, you know what I mean, coming out and standing on what it is they're saying? It's not so much of a confrontational thing, but when you throw these kind of accusations out. Oh, and I went and checked and see. I heard about the house you were supposed to be having built in the country, and I didn't see it. Maybe I went to the wrong address. But and then I looked up what retired colonels make a year. Okay, and you could pay the water bill for them people. Let's just say that. But tell us about the money you're stealing, Colonel.
Yeah, I heard about the house. I'm benefiting financially from, and if they only, and that's what I'm saying.
Do you have a big house? Do you have a big house?
Yes, in Northern Virginia.
Whoa! Stop right there. Yes.
Yes.
In the country.
In Northern Virginia.
It's Northern Virginia in Georgetown County.
That I've had since 1999. So if that's the house they're referring to, then they're absolutely correct.
How did the reporter go about that? How did she ask you? Because she didn't make mention of that part. But how did she go about asking you?
I would tell you it was a great interview, to be honest with you. We covered a lot. Unfortunately, I know they have to shrink this thing down to sound bites. So the report didn't reflect the dialogue we had. And we had a very, very open dialogue, and that, and so I respect her work. I mean, the conversation we had, but again, the product didn't represent what we talked about. And again, I don't, I think she's a very, and she's young in this thing. She's a very nice young lady. And trying to do the right thing. But I think, I know. So when she realized, I don't know if I'll send you a picture. When she came in and she saw all of those things. So when you question, one of the things is that the storm drain. Well, the storm drain is owned by DOT. Nevertheless, through Georgetown County Andrews and and others, but again, Georgetown did a lot.
Wait a second, man. Hold on. The storm drain. So you're saying that the reporter was conveying to you the sentiments of these disgruntled residents.
Yes.
And
that's what brought her down here.
They were talking to her about the storm drain.
Yes.
That the town of Andrews has nothing to do with.
Exactly. And see, that's the first thing you would help us if we understand how our government functions, what we're responsible for, and and that kind of business. And that's what And I told her, I said, ma'am, I said, you just got caught up. I said, you're not the first reporter that has been sent down here and left with what you, as you refer to, with a nothing burger. I said, you just got caught up, and I had to take her back to the last election. I said, a lot of these people you're talking to, for whatever reason, this thing hasn't settled with them, and that's okay. But you're wasting she's wasting her time. You're wasting my time, because there's some important things like what we were talking about tonight with respect to these folks who are having these water issues. Or come down. Let's talk about the other things that are the good things that are going on. We don't ever get that. So then you come to the conclusion that there's always going to be that 1%, those 1%ers that's going to fight against everything that we try to do. Good, bad, or indifferent.
How did she mention to you how Andrews got on her radar?
Yeah, well, she's I guess she's because she made a comment which really I think was, and I don't know the journalism ethics and all that kind of stuff, but for a journalist to come on and say, I'm gonna get to the bottom of this, and I think it was Andrews News, and then this thing everybody piles on. I think that was the wrong approach. So I was prepared to have this conversation with her as she saw, or anybody else.
That's why her report was so trash.
We all know opinions on Facebook. Even when we're talking, if I don't know what I'm talking about, then I probably need to be real quiet about it and not offer an opinion, an uninformed opinion. And so what you get with all of that stuff that goes on out there, everybody is really, passionate about what they believe, and not one of them. And as I showed her, she said, well, part of the thing is that I'm not available. I don't return calls, and I only limit people 3 minutes to talk. That is the standard at a meeting.
Hold on, slow down, man. You spit it out there. Now, hold on. All right. So one of the complaints was that at the town hall meetings, you only give them 3 minutes to speak. Okay, is that a rule? And let me ask you that. All right. Before we talk about the fact that if you look at any Georgetown County Council meeting, it's 3 minutes. And if it's more than 15 people, you get 2 minutes. Okay, because these things are on an agenda, and you just can't sit up there and filibuster. This is not that type of government situation. But you're saying that they told the news people that you, the dictator, Donald Trump or Andrews, Mayor McClary, only give them 3 minutes to talk. And here's the thing about that. If you got your stuff together, 3 minutes is a lifetime to talk. But if you want to ramble and get in your feelings, 3 minutes is going to be.
But here's the kicker. Yes, so that is kind of the standard. And there's a misconception. People think this is where you come to have this debate. No, like you said, it's an agenda. You get 3 minutes to, here's I got a concern about this, and then it's recorded and we go off. The place to do that is call in, get a work order, or, at least once a year we'll have a town hall like we did tonight. That's where you can have a dialogue about the details and stuff. So that's a misconception, I think, across everywhere, is that the meetings and the way you go to have this, to sort things out. No, we'll get it, and then we'll go back, figure it out, and then reach back out to you. The other thing is, when she told me that, I said, and so, we have a great clerk, and she maintains files very well. So I went back over there and got a stack of those paper, the sign-in sheet for those who come to the meeting to speak. And when she looked at those things, every one of them, exception of one, there was one person spoke. None of these people that I know that was at this meeting ever come to a council meeting. They never come to these town hall So where's the honesty in your concerns is what I would ask. I don't think it's only one intent, and that's to continue to try to muddy the water about what's going on. And again, that's their prerogative. If that's what you have time to do, go ahead and do it, because we are focused on improving the quality of life here. We're going to have some ups and downs in terms of how we get it done. Nothing is perfect, but to spend time with this kind of foolishness
instead of preaching,
and if it's coming from the people that as you laid it out, then who's saving lives? Who's getting people focused on going to heaven? that ain't my job. My job is to get the town right. This will perish, but your soul. If your job is to be getting folks right to go, but you spending it worrying about and fabricating things about what I'm doing in my leadership role,
working in the dark like Satan, working in the dark.
I think we've missed the mark.
Yep.
I think we missed the mark. So prayerfully, those leaders are not a part of this conspiracy. And these false narrative that's being planted. But if they are, then shame on them.
Shame on them. And this part of the show is sponsored by Anderson Christian College. Ask yourself why. Okay, I know y'all enjoying this one tonight. Hey man, it's gloves off with these clowns. I'm not the diplomatic one, man. I don't know.
Well, the thing is, as long as we live in this community, we're gonna have to come in. So if you got your differences, man, look, if you have questions about any of this, all this stuff is online. When people talk about the rates, all of that stuff is voted on by the council. I can't make an independent decision about anything on that fee schedule. And I'm talking fee schedule. We have to have that locked in law. That's a part of your ordinance. So that's how we govern this thing. There's nothing in it that says Frank McClary's, ordinance or, Fort McClary. None of that. We're following this blue book that has, and now we're, which we are currently upgrading. This goes back to, I just saw something pop up.
Yeah. I'm going through that now. I'm about to bring that up on the screen. I can't even bring it up on the screen. I don't know what's going on my end here, and I'm scared to do anything because
I think part of that is the flood stuff again. And we've had this conversation with this young man, and they know again the storm drain is state. If you can get on the South Carolina Department of Transportation site and it's very easy. Put in a work order. We're not going to be able to catch it all. We're a very small staff. So that's why we have to come together as a community, learn how to do these things. So the SCDOT site, anything with maintenance with roads, if the damage is not caused by any of our water and sewer system, DOT is responsible for that. Your ditches, any ditches along these primary roads, that's DOT. And so it's and the storm drain, all of that. So you try to put it back because again, you're trying to put it back on your local government. But in order to do that, then we would have to ask you for a whole ton, a bunch of money. But of course, that's not the way it's set up. So let's focus our energy and our effort in the right direction. I mean, that's how that.
Since I've been really focusing. I mean, and before I was hyper focused on Andrew's politics, I was always watching, and there has always been a group that. It just seems as if they fight against the best interests of Andrews, and they live in Andrews. Their whole existence is in Andrews, and I think they get off on somehow hating the place where And I'm not saying agree with everything, but at least come to these problems actually wanting a solution. Most of y'all just come in with a hate-filled heart. So I mean, you can announce tomorrow, hey, I've solved this cancer thing, and that's going to be a problem for some people. That's going to be a problem.
I've been called, DEI and all kind of, it's and I don't listen to this thing. My sister's on, she see it all, and I try to tell her don't worry about this stuff because it's just a distraction. But when one guy referred to me as incompetent, and and I just looked back. I said, man, I said, all my credentials. I mean, I've only been in the government for 40 years. I've only and has been very successful. So that is about as much time, because if he want to stack or anyone want to stack what they've done in life up to me, I said let's get at it. But that is about as much time I'm going to spend on ignorant comments like that. You know, you don't argue with people who don't want to move in the right direction.
You won't be talking much then if you just stay off, because that's what is a
I
bunch of
don't read
ignorant.
that stuff. I don't, if it's legit and somebody brings it to my attention, then we'll address it. But it hurts. Again, that's how this reporter got interested in what's going on, because you have, and I told him, I said, hey, go pull all the names that have an issue. So I got this list of people. I'm gonna reach out to them maybe at some point in time. Said, okay, come on, let's bring your group, whatever y'all call yourselves, and let's talk about it. Let's look in the books and see what you want. Ask your questions. But for you to sit back, and again, last night this thing was rolling. I'm told it was rolling all. They were getting after it. Not one showed up tonight. I've had two town halls. Again, that's where you can have open discussion. I've had multiple town council meeting. No one shows up, but just come and be civil and said, here's what's on my mind, and we'll figure out how to get you that. We'll get you the answer. It's very clear. And again, back to even when we didn't have a website, that was a big thing. That was a hot item. Now there's a website active. Nobody goes there. So what is their intent? That's not helpful.
That's how I break it down to, and I not even break the things down to racial. I think it's just you got some people that just got hateful hearts. Again, that whole thing with the website
get left behind, because I'll say this. I think there's 98, 99% of the great people in this town. You don't hear from them because they don't want to get involved in that kind of stuff, and I appreciate that. But they're on board. We're moving forward. We're gonna, and again, it's not going to be easy. None of this was easy. But I'm committed, and I'm not getting rich. I don't have a house in the country that they said. I want them to know. Here's the deal. I've never said this. You've said it. I've never said it. But ladies and gentlemen, this position pays $600 a month. And when you break that down to the hours I put in, it might be enough for a Happy Meal. I'm not here for the money. I'm here because this is Andrews, my hometown, and there's a lot of people who helped me get to where I am. And this is my obligation. So guys, you can go ahead and put that narrative, just put it to rest. And if you don't believe that's what, and the council members get less. I think it's like $200. And if you want to verify, go to the website where some of your council, I ain't gonna even. And where the ordinance tells you this is what it is. In order for that amount to change, we have to go through a whole. It has to be on the ballot in the general election, and it has to be voted on. That hasn't changed for probably 30 years, maybe longer than that. So that's what you pay your mayors, and they treat us like we're it's insane.
I've had conversations. I've had conversations, and I'll ask that question. I said, "What y'all think he's making up there?" And they usually start at about 50 grand. Like, you know what I mean? 50 grand. Like, if I was the mayor, I'm gonna be making 50 grand on top of that 600. But that'll be questionable. You know what I mean? I'll probably be in the newspaper.
Nah, they don't have to worry about that part, brother. But yeah, so again, this is a squash. And you were here. It's not going to do anything for those who don't want to hear the truth and know the truth.
I don't care about that.
Get on this page and spew lies and conspiracy theories and all that kind of business. And meanwhile, we're moving forward.
And here's the other part to that, man. And I hate to be a nationalist, right? But most of them people running, especially that Andrews, these people are not originally from Andrews. Okay, these people are not the white people that I grew up with in Andrews, South Carolina. Let's just keep it real where it is. Okay.
Well, when you have money involved, so what you do, just like this, when you what do you call it?
monetizing. But I don't make no money because I'm over here telling the truth. There's no money in the damn truth.
Nobody gonna come listen to you.
When we get over here and start lying, shit. Bling, 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 bling.
So these Facebook pages, as many people get on there and all the controversy or whatever it is, these people make money. So that's what they're doing with you all who are, who really here for the town. You're just making money for these people on a bunch of lies and again, conspiracy theories. That's what's happening. I don't have a problem because it is out there for people to make money, but don't do that and tearing down your community on things that you know for a fact it's not true. You know that. And if you don't know it, then ask the question. If you don't, then your intent is to be divisive.
But you gotta just like, you gotta know who you rocking with. Because again, some of these people's intentions, when I started out with this lady from with that Andrews SC News, when you introduced me to her, try to make me into a nice guy, you curse too much, you know what I mean? You might need to calm it down a little bit. You know what I mean? And I said, hey, listen. And I'm like, okay, sat down, broke bread with the lady. I tried. We at dinner, she want to talk about, the man, this, and I'm like, yo, listen, I don't know what grown people do, and I don't care about what grown people do. I'm here for the town of Andrews. And I don't think she heard me when I said that. So, okay, cool. You want to play this game? Let's play this game. But I'm here for the town of Andrews. And as long as I can look and open up and see when they talk about transparency, that's another thing they was questioning you about, the transparency, right? I don't depend on the mayor for evidence, especially when he got it laid out on a public website. You feel what I'm saying? The problem is it's just like the saying says, you can hide stuff from a ninja. Just put it in a book. As soon as they get about three paragraphs in, they're dozing off.
But here's the deal. That is no longer, you're gonna have now that is every, those who don't want to know will not open it. It's not a specific group of people. Because people, their agenda, we're dealing with some issues that you see at the national level. At the national level politics, it's right here live and well in our small towns across, the country. And really, this is where the rubber meets the road. Now, I would say some things have changed recently that really impacts everybody, but you better focus on the right target. Otherwise, you're going to find yourself, in a bad situation because you're going to miss an executive order or something that's going to happen that's going to hit your pockets real hard. And that's just the way it is. I don't do executive orders. So we have to come together, man. We got to put this stuff aside. But it's not going to, I don't think it's not going to be 100%. So I'm going to always expect, they're probably planning right now. Let's go and
they are. you done uncover the thing, but snitching then, and now listen, you just relax. You keep playing it like you've been playing it, and just good. You know what I mean? Because and it's sad that these type of groups are conspiring to destroy the town. Because and the reason why I say destroy the town, because you got people that think they know what they're talking about, think they know what they're doing, but these people are not involved in trying to figure out. If they would, they would be well read on ordinances. If one of the members of the flock said something about the storm drain, they would be able to articulate to them, hey, here's what this is, here's what that is. And I'm not coming down on pastors. Shout out to my man, Councilman Ernie Cooper, okay? Because I don't think I'm attacking pastors, or I don't think that there's no place in politics for pastors. I'm saying that there's no place in politics for snake pastors, for pastors that lie, that mislead, give misinformation. Because Mr. McClary, according to the reports I got, you was supposed to be the attorney general was supposed to be, not that reporter, the attorney general himself was supposed to be coming down there. That's what they were selling to their constituents. And
Well, I'll welcome Attorney General Alan Wilson, just like I welcome Senator Sabb or Congressman Rice, who all comes down here. I'll welcome them in, and we'll have a professional conversation. They all are welcome. And let me answer. I see Ms. Jessica Lambert had a question here regarding the reassigning the water meters. Well, like tonight we told the folks we can't go beyond by law because that's private property. So we can only go up to the point where we are now with the master meter and the lift station. So what we're doing is taking the reading from that master meter, equally dividing. That's what the people have agreed to, equally dividing that, and then paying paying it that way until this old account is resolved. And Ms. Brenda, appreciate you coming out tonight too. Her organization was very instrumental in providing service. And again, that's the big thing, man. And that's why I wanted to leave with the folks tonight. Let's not wait till a crisis to come together. You saw folks coming from around, the local businesses coming around to provide water to this community, and it was a great thing. But we need to be close enough, a close knit community that we can step in when there's an individual that suffers, that's having a hard time, not just a big community. So that was an example of what right looks like when it comes down to community, loving your neighbor, bottom line, not the stuff we were talking about earlier, where we have a certain group of people trying to sabotage what we have going on.
That Price man don't like you. Oh my God. He don't like y'all, but excuse me. Y'all down there at that
listen,
Mr. Price said you guys are destroying this town.
We've had many conversations that he's come in there with, and when he walks out understanding that it's not the issue over here. His biggest issue, he don't want any trucks coming through the town. Well, then you stop all the trucks, and we try to limit that. We haven't had this conversation.
That's where that's where you getting your kickbacks at. That's what that's allegedly. That's what he may have said. Allegedly, I don't know. I snapped. I'm crazy, but they said that's where you get your kickback. Them truckers is covering that stipend.
Hey, apparently they don't know Diane McClary and Bubba McClary and how they raise their kids. Theft and stealing and taking things that you haven't worked for is not one of those things. And so I don't take kickbacks from anyone, and it won't happen. But the bottom line is you're going to have trucks coming through. We try to minimize that. The chief, the chief is here. That was another lie that they told, that we don't have a police chief. That's another great lie. He's here. He's been here with us for over, I think, 3 years now, doing a great job, working hard on recruiting. But you can't stop every truck. We have businesses in town that they have to come to. You have one of the, and it always has been, one of the largest employer of this county are truckers. So we have to understand that, they live here. So we're trying to get them, at least to drop the trailer somewhere else, because again, the roads and the lines are very fragile. But you can't stop every truck. I mean, Piggly Wiggly's been here forever, and they have to be resupplied, food line.
All right,
there's no way to do that.
Let's talk hypotheticals. Okay, I see the process going on where the sewer lines and the water lines are being upgraded, right?
Yeah.
See that going on. So let's talk hypothetical. Okay, boom. Mayor McClary achieves what achieves the job of upgrading the water system in Andrews. Does that then create room for trucks to be able to come in town, because the line, you won't be dealing with the fragile infrastructure underneath the road? No.
And here's the other part. Here's the other risk that's happening right now, because these trucks, the roads are not designed for these trucks to turn. So we've had, in fact, right there at the intersection of Morgan and Main, there's a power box that provides power to the lights. And they've eventually moved it over to the other side, but that thing has been knocked down, I know, at least 4 times since I've been here. And now they finally moved it. So any turns that's coming north on 41 or Morgan is high risk. any turns you have, you see cars backing up, and that's not supposed to happen. And so all of those things to include, again, we can't replace these lines fast enough. So your work you see going on, that may be a block of lines, but we have 25 miles of water lines and 25 miles of sewer lines throughout the town. So there's no way we're going to, make it passable for trucks, 90,000,
Okay.
80, 90,000 pounds. So the best thing to do is use the bypass, or if you're going to come through town, if you live here, drop your trailer or come through with, empty trailer, and that'll help, the problem. But in terms of minimizing the noise, you got these squat trucks, and that's another thing that upsets this young man. But you can't control all that. Be a part of the community, but every news media come down, they know to go to him, and they're gonna get some interesting soundbite.
Yeah, because I mean, that's with them. It's the same thing. It's about clicks and views. You know what I mean? What if it bleeds, it leads. And so, it sounds better that on a news broadcast that, because news stations have to appear that they're looking out for the people. You know what I mean?
But here's my issue. And again, I'm I've worked with the media a long time, but it's all through military, most of it. But just be accurate. If you're coming in looking for something, if you're doing an investigative report and you got, concerns about the storm drain, here is the blueprint, what do you want to call it? That here it is, and it's ongoing right now. You go down to Cedar Street, report that. Say, well, this was a complaint, but Andrews is actually now having outfall, a brand new outfall, which is a big deal. That means that water can now funnel through the proper channels to get outside and stop, and minimize the flooding in town. None of that was reported.
Which means
there's a comprehensive plan. There's this chart that shows that the guys that tell you, or these people were telling you they were coming to the meetings and I won't talk to them, they're not on this list. Report that. So if you're going to be honest, and I told her, I said, I don't need, I know that, the good people who know what's going on, they don't want to be a part of this kind of media thing. I said, that's why I have these documents in front of you, that entire table. And I'll send you, I took a picture of it because I know it was going to be one of those, reports that makes the town looks like it's not doing anything. And you're going to talk about your complaints. No, those complaints were dismissed, all of them. And then in with respect to the rates, I explained that to you, and they know that taxes are raised across the place. Nobody's raising hell with Duke Energy. Cell phone use is going up. Nobody's saying that, but you have access to your local government and you give them the most hell than anybody else. The guys and girls that are on the ground working hard for you, they catch the most. And it's just, but you have to have tough skin. It comes with the parking space, and you're going to have the 1%ers. But we don't be distracted. You just keep moving in the right direction. But matter of fact, I'm going to send you. I don't know if you can upload it, but this is what I presented.
So check this out. If it clicks out, just keep going. Because I think that's what I'm gonna have to do on my end to be able to upload. I'm having some. Yeah, I'm.
But if not, we'll get to it. But we'll get to it if you can't. But my thing is, I'm gonna. It's gonna be documented. And all I ask for is report fairly. And even if they don't, the people need to come in and see what's going on. We've had comprehensive plan, vision and plan, all these things laid out. And we still have some people saying, I didn't know this was happening. Nobody talks about track supply. Nobody talks about all these things that are good, but let there be something controversial. And here come every media source, or everybody who has an iPhone in these people's face who really needs help, not you putting them on blast.
Man, ain't nobody trying to promote no positive black man who actually got his stuff together and leading from the front. I mean, we can act like that's not what's going on in a lot of these cases, but again, the better story is, he's making a mess of it. You know what I mean?
Clean up is messy.
Yeah.
Clean up is messy. And when you got someone, and when you got $80,000 to $100,000 of your money, which in this case, we're talking about the hospitality tax, going to the county because the decision was made back in 1999. That's $80,000 to $100,000 going there. Nobody's raising Cain until we got here and found it. Now that money's coming back in the pot. Let's talk about that. Where's this group of people that's out here, you know, again, with this false narrative? Where were they when the ambulance was taken out of the town? Where were the same group of people when, you know, everybody else was talking about that high risk traffic intersection by Ebenezer and County Line Road? So it's clear that they're just here to be disruptive. And again, if this is coming from any of our churches, it's sad. But somebody will deal with them. You know, there's a man above. I think we lost Jamal. Not sure if I'm still alive. I think we are.
All right, there we go.
Yeah. Was that a commercial? Was that a commercial break?
Yes, that's what that was. A unsolicited commercial break.
That was
right
an
there.
unplanned commercial break, huh?
There you go. All right.
I didn't know whether I was still on or not, but I signed out and came back in.
No, it was on my end. I was trying to pull up a PDF, a sliding PDF.
Yeah.
And there's some things that apparently whenever you're using Chrome and Microsoft 11, and then you try to download a document, both of them try to do it. And anyway, it's just, I'm not a computer person for real.
Okay, so they were telling me I was live. I appreciate it, ladies, because I didn't want to say anything crazy. So I was still on here, but yeah. So that's kind of where we are, you know, and I appreciate the people tuning in. We use this platform to inform. That's what it's really about. We realized back 2 years ago that it was so many people saying we didn't know, so we try to create this forum. Now sometimes, you know, we have our feelings get we'll get rough on you, but really this thing is to let you know what's going on. So I appreciate everybody coming in and sharing their thoughts.
Yeah, and because of the way that article was reported is why Like if you're a young person that's considering to get into politics, please study the media. Please study how the media works and try to understand it as a machine, because if you don't have a way to combat narratives, they'll paint you in the picture of, because no matter what you say, once you meet people, if they can paint a narrative of you, or what's they call that, a preconceived notion of you, that kind of thing. So if you're planning to get in politics and you're dealing with the media, again,
the persistence to continue to do things like this is unbelievable. And I was listening at this lady, and she was telling me all the things that was said in this strategic, well thought out, planned out meeting that it was unbelievable. And I said, this cannot be coming from folks that I know well, and I said, this is incredible.
I mean, you had to believe it because I had to believe it because I got the information from a person right there. It, like, yo, can you believe this? I'm like, wow.
Well, I guess it's still good. But anyway, we're as I told, she said, well, what did you want to? I said, well, what I want to leave with them is the bottom line is that yes, we have our challenges, but it's time to continue to move forward, and I'm committed to it. I think the folks, the pro tem. Ms. Angie, Ms. Amy, those guys are working hard to get it done. And so I again, as I told you, my sister, she tracks all this stuff. She's about like, the intelligence officer. And I said, look, I don't want to hear all that, but sometimes I listened last night, and this for the things that were said, man, by, these heroes out here. It's incredible. So yeah, it irritates me. It irritates me.
Well, this going to irritate them. Man, you ever heard of, why you mad, son? You know what I mean? Tell them why you mad, son. Let me see. I believe I can. So here is.
Oh, you got something going.
Yeah, they were saying that you stealing because you broke.
Oh man.
And so this is retirement for a colonel.
Oh wow. I haven't
United
That's what I'm making. I think they're shorting me, man.
167,000. I told y'all he could pay that water bill. $167,054. And so,
I don't. Hey,
listen, listen. I'm the reason I'm showing that too is so I guess, man, so people can understand that. Yeah, people do put themselves in a position to where they can really dedicate themselves to doing the community's work. Okay, because realistically, a working man with a family, young person, $600 for that kind of stress, that kind of heat, I'd be done punch one of them people. Jerry Price has been I'd have been assaulting old people. They'd have had me for that. Like, because I think the pressure alone, but I would have got creative with that budget too. But and I'm saying that knowing full well that you can't do nothing with that budget without the council's approval. Anything outside of that is criminal. I know that, saying, I'm just kind of, but yeah.
We have we have a company that has oversight of all of our finances, which is a third party contract company. If they come to the meeting, they'll see us. She's a great lady who does a great job for us, and so and we have a robust accounting where there's multiple checks and balances when you start talking, because again, I know the environment, being in the government, you're going to be accused of things. Just be able to, when the Alan Wilsons come down, just lay it out and say, here it is, buddy. And so then, but what you won't see is those folks who's hiding behind the curtain or the pew or the pulpit won't come out, and say, yes, I'm the one who said it. And right now I don't even want to hear from them. We just continue to do what's right, and we'll be just fine. But no, I don't want and will never cheat this town or anybody else. We go out of our way to make sure we can take care of folks. That's who I've always been. That's what, and I'll continue to do that. That's where we are. So I'm done with the answering these, these lies. Let's put it the way it is. It ain't happening.
And you know what I know about all them people too?
Yeah, what's up?
All of them were Pizza Man supporters. All of those are supporters of the Pizza Man.
No.
Yeah, most of them were, and they're still friends with the Pizza Man. You know what I mean? The pizza,
well,
the pedo Pizza Man. Yeah,
that's they have to answer to a higher calling than I could ever, than anything I'm responsible for. So let them keep doing it, and they'll see what the reward is. Let them keep doing it, and we'll keep doing what we're supposed to do, man. So this is good stuff. Hey, football. So we're going to go ahead and sign up for. And I know you probably got something else, but I want to make sure folks get out there and support our football program is coming up here real soon. I think next month.
August 29th. And I'm sitting here. I don't know what's going on with the computer tonight. But yeah, August 29th, I would put that graphic up there. Let me see if I can go do it this way.
And support these nonprofit organizations like, Ms. Brenda on there. We got Miss Davis, who has, the Black Diamond. Go out and support these guys, these organizations, because they're pouring back into the community. That's where we need to be. And you'll see a difference when you get folks coming together and doing that kind of business, man. I just talked to two new families coming in, and so it is growing, and people are coming here in spite of. And I'll say this though, the recent lawsuit that this guy that we received today. And of course, Gab had it up. So this lady just I didn't know this lady from Adam. So that night when Gab reported and had the lawsuit, she read this thing. I didn't know. So I'm going through my, whatever I was going through, just knowing that someone will take this measure to file a lawsuit on something that they're supposed to be doing. But nevertheless, so this lady sent me she went through those papers, and I'll tell you what, man, it was a blessing. She said, look, I support what you in the town is doing regarding this. And she read down and had all these things outlined. I don't know if she's a legal person, but I was able to talk to her the next one. I appreciate, I told her I appreciated what she wrote. And she's one of the new, families that are here. And it's a breath of fresh air, man, to talk to folks like that and know, what we're trying to do is for the good of the people. And that's what we need from our citizens, man. But we want to welcome, and we'll talk to her later on. I'm not going to call her name now, but I spoke to her and her husband, great people. And they're moving in here. And another young lady's coming in from the Midwest, I believe it. Nope, not Midwest. I think it's upstate. It's moving here. So they're seeing it.
So let me ask you this, man, and
yes,
we'll get out of here.
Yeah, go check on my dad.
No doubt. So if Tim had somebody reading the town's meter, that would be illegal.
What do you mean, the master meter?
The master meter, yes, you guys' meter. If he had somebody if he was paying somebody to get a reading off that meter, would that be illegal?
Yes, because again, the meters are only for the town employees to go in and read. So any tampering, that's what it's called in the ordinance. Any tampering, any parts of a government's infrastructure, which is pretty serious, because you can imagine if this thing was out there and the damage that you can cause. And so those things are locked. So if someone is going into that meter box to read it, that is you're actually breaking the law. And here's the other thing: if it's being read from that meter, how is it that everybody has different bills? Amount of that we've hearing $200, $300. There's no way.
because their meters don't work. I can tell you that. And Tim, you going to jail. So and all you would need is proof. All you guys would need is proof that he did this.
If that's what's happening, we certainly be interested in that information.
Tim, you going to jail.
We'd be interested in that, and that's something that's very serious.
I got receipts. Tim going to jail where he was paying, and wasn't he supposed to have a certified water, somebody, to do that?
Well, yeah, the Department of Environmental Services does require, with a property that large, requires to have certified people managing. We talked about that tonight. It's no different. They have the same requirements that any municipality. If you have a permit with DHEC,
I have proof. Yeah. I have proof. I got receipts of what he paid people, and I have got video testimony of these people, and they are willing to come to court and testify and to prove that he was sending them money to read you guys' meter. So Tim, your lawyers that's listening, that's facts. I just said that. Okay, sue me, and so we can get that together. But yeah, I got proof. So you done, Tim.
I'll tell you the stories I've heard.
Well, that wouldn't be Carter B. That'd be Williamsburg County over there. Who's the sheriff over there?
The acting interim sheriff, I think, is Clemson. Can't remember his name. Young man that's currently sitting in that position.
Yeah, y'all heard it first. Welcome to Andrew's podcast. Welcome to Andrew's podcast. I'm saying it on here right now. We have enough information for the authorities to go after this man. If what you're saying is illegal, I got proof he did that. I got documented proof, and yeah, he done.
They were paid to go read our meter, but then how is every house have different?
I don't. That's you asking me to explain the mind of a criminal. I know that he had a number of different people going to the master meter to read them. He was paying them $80 a piece. As a matter of fact, let's go to the videotape. Let's go to the videotape. Let me. I don't want to give up none of my sources, but I'll give up this part right here. If that's what the town of Andrews need, right?
That information, certainly shared it with us.
He going to jail. We gonna send him to jail.
You're going to jail,
Tim.
Yeah, there's no one, again, if you're not an employee in the water department or maintenance, should be going. And that's one of the things on that report that young lady said that I'm encouraging people to read. No, you can't go in those meters. Those boxes are secure, especially now. I mean, anytime. That's just, you can't.
Tim's lawyers, I hope you're watching, because I got something for you. And roll up on me crazy now. Roll up on me crazy and you know what I mean? But it's all good. I'm about to send this information over. I'm like Charleston White.
Clemson Wright is the interim sheriff of Williamsburg County. Good
Clemson
man.
Right, Clemson wrong. I got the information for you. Matter of fact, let me share it with the world. You going to jail, Tim. You going to jail. You going to jail. You going to jail. You want to mess around? Yeah, Baba.
If this is what's going on, right? If this is what's happening.
Man, listen, on this end right here, I know for sure.
Well, yeah, if you have that information, and anybody else that is aware of any of these types, we would be certainly, as we go through this process, interested in seeing what you have.
Listen.
Because it's too much. And these
Wow.
folks, man, the young man was working tonight. He has a 75-year-old mom there who's always paid her bill, as he said tonight, always. And then to have her service interrupted, and she has some health issues, obviously. And so those are the kind of stories we're hearing.
Wow.
And it's just not right.
Mr.
They got to get this
Tim.
thing together, man.
So here is for Tim's lawyers. There you go, right there. There's Tim Woodbridge right there making payments for, and this person was paid $80. Okay, and one of those are in there for lawn care, but you see the ones in there for property management, and I got more. Okay, I have more. I am a real journalist. I am going to do the investigative work. Just like that lady said she gonna get to the bottom of it, we gonna get to the bottom of this here, Timmy. And so there's Tim Woodbridge right there. That's his Cash App. And people know because he deals with through Cash App. And he paid this. Again, I got more of these. I got more of these. Yeah, Tim Woodbridge. And I got people that are ready to talk. They're ready to say, hey, yeah, he did this, he did that. You feel what I'm saying? Because Tim has a reputation of taking people to court. Like, of course, you guys got served today, but he has a real nasty reputation of being like a bully in court. But Tim broke the law, and the sheriff, somebody tagged the sheriff, Clemson Wright, the interim sheriff. Interim mean he can lock him up, right? Yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah, he has full authority. It's just that they haven't, he's not a permanent, haven't been placed there for an indefinite time.
Well, we can go ahead and I got the goods. I got it. Andrews the podcast right here. Y'all go ahead and hit that like button and check that out right there. Tim Woodbridge, right there. This is one of many, Tim. This is one of, and again, he's just getting random people.
So this was. Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
random?
he gets random people. I mean, you'll see. He gets random people and just throw them that $80 and go read that meter up there. And that's what they do. You know what I mean? Because they can't go to they cannot go to the people's meters because the people's meters don't work. Maybe the explanation for the difference in the bills is the few meters that work, but the people that I talked to, they say they never went to no other meters. They went straight to the master meter and sent him that information, which I have, and then sent that and then he sent them the Cash App. Yeah, Tim, you going to jail, dog. You going to jail, Tim?
Well, that's not the way. That's what happened. That's not the way to do it. We have a new meter down there now, so that box is secured, and it can't be, so it's locked in. This is a brand new meter, so any tampering with that, we have that under surveillance. So any tampering with that meter, we'll know right away. If anybody decides to do that.
Yeah, Timmy.
That's
Timmy. And now I mean, even if he pay y'all, I still want to file charges now because he done pissed me off. I mean, after y'all get y'all money, y'all need to file charges. No, he pay y'all. I guess I don't know.
A lot of damage has been done.
Yes. And this man needs to be, like my man Charlemagne would say, he need to be brought front and center to the congregation. Right? That's what we need to tell Tim. We need to say.
Today's sound of the day is you're going to jail.
But that's it, Mayor. Listen, I done kept you way longer than I was supposed to. So, you know what I mean? Again, I know you're dealing with family issues, man. You guys are in my prayers. And so I appreciate you. Any last words? And we can go ahead and get up out of here.
Yeah, no, I thank everyone for coming out tonight. We're still continue to pray for the folks out there, for our town, each other, and just work together, man. That's all it is. I appreciate this platform, everybody coming on tonight, and we'll continue to do this and keep you informed of what's happening. Bloomingville community. I didn't make it out to the 4th of July thing, but I heard it was a really nice event. So, and that's a part of merging these communities, man. It's doing these things and working as a team. Let me see. Understand.
So, hey,
Yeah.
shout out to the Bloomingville community from tuning in tonight. I see that I clicked you guys in there. No profanity tonight, so everything should be okay over there. They ain't gonna kick me out of the community. I got on one night on a rant and didn't realize that I had them. I'm going to the community page, going live.
So you had a moment.
I got some text messages. Hey, what are you doing?
Hey, thank you, Ms. Byrne. Yeah. So my auntie, man, I think most folks know her. Just a ball of energy, man. She passed today. That was my girl, and so she's no longer with us. So we'll have to go through that and figure out how to adjust. But that's what we're facing right now. But I'm gonna go out here now and check on my old man. So I appreciate you, man. Hey, keep doing what you're doing out there, Jamal.
It's all good, brother. I appreciate you, man. You have the rest of your evening, and I'll wrap this here up right here for you.
All right.
All right. Yeah. All right, guys. See what it is, man. You know what it is. Great show tonight. On your way out, while you're here, please go ahead and hit the like button. I'm not charging for that, okay? We're not asking for no donations. We're just asking you to hit the like button so that we can spread this message. If you thought this was a good message, then please share it to somebody else, okay? And again, real quick, go over the AHS football page and sign up to serve a pregame meal to the team, okay? Do that for your boy. Tell them welcome to Andrews, the podcast sent you. Real Talk Tuesday. Y'all have a great evening.